Think about the last time a story truly moved you. Maybe it was a film, a book, or even a friend's anecdote. Why do some tales feel so real, so immediate that they transport us out of our own lives?
Narrative transportation begins quietly, like a soft shift of gravity pulling your thoughts toward a new direction. One moment you're in your room, and the next you're inside the scene, unfolding before you, feeling emotions that belong to someone else, yet strangely echo within you. This invisible movement bridges inner and outer worlds. The story takes your focus, wraps your senses, and gently blurs the environment around you. Your awareness narrows, your attention deepens, and for a moment the line between fiction and reality softens. When this immersion deepens, the story becomes a lived moment rather than distant information. You stop thinking about yourself and begin thinking through the character's experience. Their struggle becomes yours. Their choices feel intimately personal. We all have memories of stories that changed us long after we finished them. They lingered like shadows or warm light, shifting how we saw something or someone. That lingering effect is the signature of full narrative transportation. Our brains assist this shift more than we realize. Mirror neurons allow us to simulate what characters do. When they run, fear, hope, or love, the neural patterns in our own minds echo their experience, pulling us deeper into identification. This neurological mirroring is why stories feel physically real. Our heart rate can rise during tense scenes, our muscles may tighten, and our breath might shorten. The brain treats imagined experience with surprising seriousness. Another element that aids immersion is reduced cognitive resistance. When a narrative is compelling, our internal critic grows quieter. We question less, analyze less, and let meaning flow naturally. This creates a gateway for deeper emotional impact. Strong stories also build empathy. They allow us to walk into perspectives we would never encounter otherwise. Through them, we inhabit different cultures, fears, loves, and lives, expanding our emotional range and understanding.
Empathy gained from fiction often transfers into reality. When we feel what a character feels, it becomes easier to appreciate the inner worlds of real people. Stories open emotional doors we didn't know existed.
When learning is placed within a story, understanding becomes intuitive. Complex ideas feel lighter and more tangible because they are framed by human experience. Information no longer floats abstractly, it anchors within lived feeling.
This is why storytelling is one of the oldest teaching tools. Long before formal instruction existed, humans shared lessons through narratives, warnings, wisdom, values, strategies, passed through gripping tales.
Stories influence behavior more effectively than direct argument. When we connect emotionally with a character, their actions become models. Their mistakes feel like warnings. Their victories feel motivating.
This influence is subtle and non-coercive. We follow because we care, not because someone demands us to. Emotional investment lowers psychological resistance and opens the mind to new possibilities.
Creators who understand narrative transportation gain a powerful communication tool. Whether writing, teaching, leading, or inspiring, framing ideas through story helps them land deeper and stay longer within memory.
To craft immersive narratives, sensory detail is essential. Vivid colors, sounds, scents, textures, and atmospheres allow the reader to inhabit the world. Strong imagery builds the stage for emotional connection.
Characters bring the world to life. Their motives, wounds, dreams, and fears anchor the emotional core. When characters feel real, the audience invests emotionally, forming bonds that sustain the entire narrative.
Stakes deepen that investment. A challenge worth fighting for, a loss that truly matters, or a hope that feels fragile. These elements give the narrative weight. Without stakes, immersion dissolves quickly.
Suspense heightens this weight. Uncertainty engages our imagination, pulling us forward. Each unanswered question becomes a psychological tether, keeping us inside the story's movement.
Emotional resonance transforms a good story into a memorable one. Whether joy, grief, fear, or wonder, emotional contrast creates peaks and valleys that mirror real life,
making the narrative unforgettable. Modern content creation benefits immensely from this understanding. Videos, presentations, messages, lessons, when framed as stories rather than raw information, connect more deeply and spread more widely.
But narrative power must be used responsibly. Stories can illuminate truth, but they can also manipulate. Recognizing the difference helps both creators and audiences protect emotional boundaries.
Manipulative narratives often bypass critical thought intentionally, pushing agendas disguised as emotional truth. Genuine narratives invite reflection without forcing alignment. The contrast is essential to grasp.
Understanding narrative transportation helps us navigate modern media culture, where stories, real and artificial, bombard us constantly. With awareness, we can choose which stories to absorb and which to resist. Even in 2025, stories remain our most intuitive way to understand life. They help us navigate confusion, transform chaos into structure, and turn emotional storms into meaning we can hold and process.
People crave stories because stories offer coherence. They reveal patterns and experiences that feel random. They create emotional order and psychological relief. They remind us we are part of something larger.
Stories also bind communities. Shared narratives shape identity, culture, and memory. Families, nations, and friend groups all rely on stories to define who they are and what matters to them.
Your own storytelling ability is a bridge to influence. When you craft narratives that resonate, you help others think, feel, or understand in ways raw facts alone cannot achieve.
To use this skill, start with sensory grounding. Even simple scenes come alive with concrete detail. Instead of saying a sad room, describe the dim light, uneven dust, or cracked photograph frame. Sensory cues trigger emotional truth.
Then build character depth, show desires, fears, contradictions, and vulnerabilities. People connect strongly to imperfection because it reflects their own. Once characters breathe, give them stakes. Whether internal or external, stakes create momentum. They give the story urgency and meaning.
Layer in suspense. Not only through danger, but through unanswered emotional questions. Will they succeed? Will they heal? Will they change?
Let emotions ebb and flow. Contrast amplifies impact. Joy feels stronger after pain. Hope feels brighter in darkness. Finally, close with resonance. A narrative that ends with clarity, transformation, or even lingering mystery leaves the audience with something to hold on to long after the story ends. When applied to everyday communication, narrative thinking transforms basic conversation into connection. You can explain ideas through story, motivate through story, and build trust through story.
In presentations, a narrative arc keeps attention sharp. Instead of listing facts, weaving them into a journey gives the audience direction and emotional investment.
In content creation, narrative transportation increases watch time, engagement, and shareability. People share stories that moved them, not information that bored them. In relationships, storytelling opens vulnerability. Sharing your experiences as narratives allows others to see your inner world, fostering closeness. Recognizing narrative manipulation helps protect your emotional autonomy. Slow down when a story feels too perfectly crafted to provoke a reaction. Pause when emotion feels artificially amplified.
Ask yourself, does this story inform or control? Does it open perspective or close it? This awareness guards against being unconsciously pulled into harmful narratives.
Yet, despite risks, storytelling remains deeply human. We are wired for it. Most of what we remember in life is shaped into narrative form. Our past, our identity, our hopes.
When you understand this phenomenon, you gain the ability to shape your own narrative consciously instead of letting external stories define you.
You can choose which stories to keep, which to release, and which to rewrite. You can decide how your experiences fit into your personal arc rather than allowing randomness to dictate meaning.
Narrative transportation shows that meaning is not found, it is created. Stories are the lenses that turn raw experience into something coherent, emotional, and purposeful.
And when crafted with intention, stories can illuminate, heal, inspire, and connect more deeply than any other form of human communication.